Hi guys, my name is Jayana,
My name is Milky.
My name's Quinn.
My name's Nat now.
and this is our presentation on struggles of single parenthood.
Objective. Students will be able to understand the struggles that come with single parenthood and the effects it can have.
Okay, so just a couple of our quotes. Honestly, these quotes really just signify Patricia's role in Noah's life and how it was just very important. A lot of that things that she had to do and make up for it because of the lack of his father's presence. So one being, too many men grow up without their fathers. You need to find your father. Show him what you've become. If you don't find him, you won't find yourself. In this quote, she's basically really like pushing him to find his dad so he can kind of, I guess in a way he was missing that masculine aspect in his life, that father-like aspect in his life. So he needed that, and she knew that his dad was a part of him, and he needed to go through that.
Whilst my mother couldn't give me access to the world, she at least made sure to let me know it existed. A kid cannot dream of being an astronaut if he does not know about space. And this quote signifies that while yes, Patricia is on her own, she's doing her best with what she has to raise Noah, like showing him how to drive a car while she sits in his lap, or while he sits in her lap, and also giving him things that she never had, like a proper education.
Exactly. She kind of wanted him to learn outside of the boundaries that were like placed on them because of their economic situation. When I was growing up, my mom spent a lot of time trying to teach me about women. It's because he didn't really have that male father in his life, like a male figure in his life, like I said before. So she spent like her time trying to kind of give him examples of what to be like because he didn't have a real life example in his face. And when he did get one, he really wasn't the best. Wasn't really the best example of that.
I never turned to bitterness because she made sure I knew his absence was because of circumstance and not a lack of love. And this is Patricia talking about her relationship with Robert, and how that it's not that she dislikes him, it's just that physically they cannot be together because of distance and law.
Yeah.
And
Just racism.
Okay, here are some causes of single parenthood. We have divorce, separation, could be political, religious reasons, unplanned pregnancies, death of a partner, and Noah's mom had to be a single parent due to the apartheid laws. She's a great example of societal day factors leading to single parenthood, like cultural shifts.
yeah. So the individual history of single motherhood in South Africa. How does one get introduced to single parenthood in South Africa? The majority of single parenthood, mostly motherhood, is caused by a lack of education and also the lasting effects of apartheid, forcing people apart. 30% of women who can work or are of working age are unemployed compared to 25.2% of working age men. Majority of men move from townships to cities to find work, which if they're there long enough, they can probably forget that they have families in other places, and they end up resetting themselves entirely in those cities, leaving those other families to fend for themselves. And 13% of all pregnancies are teen pregnancies, meaning that as these moms grow up, they have challenges finding a partner.
Single parenthood facts. Unfortunately, the amount of single parents have been increasing, primarily in North America and European countries, but really around the world. 25% of all families are headed by a single parent. 80% of these single parented families are headed by women. 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce, usually leaving one of the parents primarily taking care of the children. And this graph shows how the different races add up when it comes to single parenthood.
Okay. Psychological impacts of single parenthood. Since it is a really tasking and heavy responsibility to be the sole provider for the family, we could see it in a lot of the book too. His mom definitely did struggle a lot because she didn't have a support system, and her family had had a history of abandoning her and a lot of mistreatment towards her. And then without a father to help her, like her child's father, it was definitely just really difficult for her to navigate being a parent and providing for them. So that can also lead to a lot of anxiety and depression. also triggers some mental health issues that may be genetic. A missing role model to accommodate for. Yeah, so she definitely had to fill in for him as a father as well and teach him things that he didn't have an example of. Like when, for example, in the quote, when I was growing up, my mom spent a lot of time trying to teach me about women on page 127. It's basically just kind of going into how she had to teach him how to talk to and act and really treat a woman because he didn't have an example of that in his real life. And then abandonment issues. Um, that can also just stem from the unhealthy relationship that you gain with that child once you've been through something so traumatic as losing a partner or just being a parent by yourself. It's genuinely really tasking. You can tend to grow an unhealthy connection with said child, and um, it your relationship may cause a lot of issues as they grow older and try to deter from like the original situation. And also the statistics here are kind of showing the economic well-being. So like their unemployment rates in single parent households are significantly higher than people who have a partner or parenting with their husband or whatever the case may be, have a support system. Also, they're less likely to have a high school degree or a degree from a college or any sort of higher education. So yeah.
Single parenthood inborn a crime. Trevor's mom raised him primarily on her own due to apartheid. Because of this, Trevor didn't have a father figure to learn from or look up to. Single parenthood put extra stress on Trevor's mom since she was only caring for him and their family was naturally pretty poor, so she had to make do with what she had. Single parenthood also put Trevor's mom in a lot of dangerous situations, which also put Trevor at risk, and that was very bad for the family. These are our videos. We would let them play.
Yeah, this is like just badass warrior woman. To have said she on purpose intentionally wanted to have you, right? Knew it was against the law, knew it was against the law to be with a white person, said, I'm gonna do it anyway. Right. Yes. And I'm gonna have this child and I'm gonna raise this child the way I would raise this child. Right. Yeah.
Most people would have a sign to protest government suppression. My mother had me. And in telling my story and writing this book, I never thought it was about my mom. I think most of us believe that we're the heroes of our story. Yeah. And in writing the story, I realized that I was my mother's punk ass sidekick. I genuinely, I didn't set out to write it about my mother at all. I was telling my story. And it's funny how you sit down and then you come to realize the people in your life who have shaped you and who play a big role in who you are. And I can't deny that my mother was that person for me, who stood up at a time when many people were afraid to stand up, when a country was being punished for standing up. And she said, no, as a woman and as a black person, I will live the way I believe I'm allowed to live, whether you tell me I can or not. And she did that. And so because of that, she's the example that I lived my life by without realizing the consequences. And that for me is one of the most gangster human beings you can shape yourself.
Oh yeah.
Here's the other video.
They want to make good choices. It's just they have a hard time, and if they don't have someone to emulate, it's that much harder for them.
Yeah, see, that's the truth of it. And what I try to get single moms to understand is that wanting to have someone to emulate, it cannot be you. Because what they struggling with, what they trying to figure out, man, can only be taught by a man. I'm telling you, Jalen, let me ask you something, man. How do you think it went?
I think it went really good because first when Ben came, I thought he was a stranger to me. And I didn't want to say anything to him, I thought this was a joke at first. I didn't really take it serious, but then at the end of the day, I started thinking, I was like, this is somebody that can help me out. This is somebody that is successful in life. They've done things that I would like to do, be very successful. When I got stuff off my chest, like manhood, he said it's real, the real world. It's crazy. Things happen. It's not given to you. Things aren't given to you. You have to work for it.
All right, and those videos just kind of show the positive and negative effects of single parenthood. And this is our activity. So I guess you can do it, Miss Ellie.
How many families are headed by single parents?
A, 80%, B, 10%, C, 42%, or D, 25%. Let her think.
All right, and the answer is 25%. What do you know? All right, next question.
Which of the following is not a reason for single parenthood? A, divorce, B, political laws, C, healthy relationships, or D, death of a partner?
The answer is healthy relationship. Now, last question. Most single parents households are headed by men. True or false? And the answer is false. Not
Wait,
true. Women.
wait.
No. False is the answer.
And then the last slide is just our references of.
Yeah.
Thank
All right,
you.
All right, Miss Ellie.
Bye, Miss
you.
Benitez and Miss Ellie.